The afternoon heat in Ibadan felt like a restless drumbeat against the skin, steady, heavy, and full of noise. Yellow buses crawled through crowded roads, traders shouted prices over one another, and the smell of fried akara and engine oil mixed in the air. Among the rush of bodies and horns was a thin teenage boy pushing a wheelbarrow of bottled water. His name was Tunde Williams, a boy whose story began not with luxury, but with loss. At 14, Tunde already carried the weight of the world. His mother, a tailor, had died from illness, and his father had vanished one night, leaving nothing but a broken stool and an empty bottle of gin. Home became whatever corner of Ojaoba market could shield him from the rain. Each morning before sunrise, Tunde and a few other boys would gather near the bus park. Some hawked sachet water, others polished shoes or carried loads for passengers. Tunde did all three, whatever could keep hunger quiet for a day. He didn't complain. He didn't even talk much. But whenever he saw cars roll past, shiny SUVs with clean suits behind the wheels, something inside him burned. He'd whisper under his breath, "One day, I'll be like them. I don't know how, but I will." One fateful afternoon, Tunde's hope almost shattered. A customer accused him of giving fake change. The man shouted, grabbed his shirt, and called him a thief. The crowd gathered quickly, and in minutes, Tunde was surrounded by insults, stones, and shame. He ran until his legs gave way near an old railway track at Dugby. There he broke down, not from pain, but from exhaustion. "God," he muttered, "why me? Am I cursed to suffer forever?" A raspy voice answered from behind a pile of iron scraps. "No be curse, boy. Na test." Tunde turned to see an elderly man, lean, with tired eyes but a calm smile. His name was Baba Sei, a scrap dealer who had watched the world chew and spit men out for decades. He offered Tunde a piece of roasted plantain and said, "If life push you down, push 'em back small. No run from Waala, use and learn sense." That evening, Baba Sei let Tunde sleep beside his shack. By morning, Tunde was already helping him sort metal. Within weeks, the boy learned how to tell copper from aluminum, how to fix broken tools, and how to bargain with customers. For the first time in years, Tunde felt purpose. He even started saving a few naira in a tin can buried behind the workshop. Every night, as the sky turned orange, he would stare into the distance and whisper, "If you're listening, God, give me just one chance. I won't waste it." He didn't know that the chance was already walking toward him, wearing a wristwatch worth more than everything he'd ever owned. And that meeting would change Tunde's life forever. 2 years had passed since Tunde started working at Baba Sei's scrapyard in Ibadan. He was taller now, stronger and wiser. The boy who once cried behind containers had become the young man everyone called Tunde Mechanic. He could fix almost anything: car batteries, fan motors, even broken generators. Though the money wasn't much, he managed to eat twice a day and save a little. Baba Sei often joked, "If you keep saving like this, you go buy your own workshop before 30. Tunde would smile but say nothing. Deep inside, he wanted more, not for pride, but to prove to himself that he wasn't born to remain on the streets. One Saturday afternoon, while Tunde was sorting scrap metal, a black SUV pulled up beside the yard. The windows rolled down to reveal a middle-aged man in a sharp native attire, gold wristwatch shining like fire. His voice was deep and impatient. "Who's in charge here?" Baba Sei, wiping his hands on his rag, stepped forward. "Nami, sir. You need something?" The man pointed at the back of his SUV. "The engine keeps overheating. I've taken it to 3 different mechanics. None could fix it. Someone told me your boy here, what's his name, might know how." Baba Sei looked at Tunde. "You here, am?" Tunde nodded nervously. He walked toward the car, opened the bonnet, and examined it carefully. The smell of burnt coolant hit him immediately. Within minutes, he traced the problem to a clogged radiator hose. He patched it temporarily, flushed the coolant system, and restarted the engine. The car purred quietly like a sleeping cat. The man looked surprised. "You fixed it? Just like that?" "Yes, sir," Tunde replied softly. "But you'll need to change the hose completely. I only managed it for now." The man stared at him for a while, then smiled faintly. "You're good. Very good. What's your name again? Tunde Williams, sir. He reached into his pocket and handed Tunde 5,000 Nigerian nairas. That's for your effort. Tunde froze. That was more money than he'd made in 2 weeks. But he hesitated. Sir, it's too much. I only patched it. The man raised an eyebrow. You're refusing money? Tunde scratched his head. No, sir. I just don't want to collect what I didn't earn fully. The man chuckled, genuinely impressed. You're honest. Not many like you these days. He reached into his glove compartment and brought out a card. My name is Mr. Rotamai Balagan, Managing Director of Roble Engineering Limited. Visit my office on Monday. I might have something better for you than this scrapyard. For a moment, Tunde couldn't speak. He just stared at the card, trembling slightly. Babasai, standing nearby, smiled proudly. That night, Tunde couldn't sleep. He held the business card close to his chest like it was gold. God, he whispered, is this the chance I asked for? Monday morning came faster than ever. Dressed in his cleanest shirt and borrowed shoes, Tunde took a taxi to Roble Engineering, a tall building that looked like something out of a dream. He stood in front of it, heart pounding. He remembered every insult, every hunger, every tear, and took a deep breath. This is it, he said quietly. The beginning of something new. He didn't know that inside that building waited not just opportunity, but also temptation, betrayal, and the test of everything he believed in. The reception area of Roble Engineering Limited smelled like fresh paint and expensive perfume. Marble floors, glass walls, and soft music in the background. Tunde had never seen anything like it. He stood awkwardly near the door, holding his cap, afraid to touch anything. Good morning, young man, said the receptionist with a polite smile. How may I help you? I came to see Mr. Rotamai Balagan, Tunde stammered. Do you have an appointment? He gave me this. He handed her the card. She glanced at it and nodded. Please have a seat. Minutes later, a tall man in a dark blue suit appeared. His steps were calm, confident. It was Mr. Rotamai. When he saw Tunde, a warm smile crossed his face. You came, he said. Good. He motioned for Tunde to follow him into his office. A large room with awards on the wall, air conditioning humming softly, and a faint scent of coffee. Mr. Rotamai sat behind his desk. So, tell me, Tunde, where did you learn about engines? From the scrapyard, sir. I fix damaged parts and sometimes test old generators. The man nodded. No formal education? Tunde shook his head. Just primary school, sir. There was silence. Then Mr. Rotamai smiled. Sometimes talent is better than certificates. He picked up the intercom. Grace, tell the workshop supervisor I'm sending someone down. That day, Tunde was hired as a junior mechanic trainee at Roble Engineering. His job was simple: assist senior engineers, clean tools, and learn the ropes. Days turned into weeks. Tunde arrived before everyone else and left after everyone had gone. He watched, listened, and practiced quietly. Within months, his supervisors started to notice his skill. He was fast, careful, and honest. He never cut corners. But success often attracts envy. One of the senior engineers, Kunal, began to dislike Tunde's rise. That street boy is acting too smart, he told others. He wants to take our jobs. Kunal's jealousy grew darker when he realized Mr. Rotamai often praised Tunde's dedication. Then one afternoon, a major contract came in, repairing heavy-duty machines for an oil company. Kunal was in charge of handling the materials. But when the parts arrived, he saw a chance to make quick money. He pulled Tunde aside and said, Listen, boy. We'll keep 2 of the spare compressors and sell them at the back. I'll handle the paperwork. You just stay quiet. I'll give you 200,000 Nigerian nairas. You can finally buy your own shop. Tunde froze. 200,000 Nigerian nairas? That was a fortune. But something inside him tightened, the same voice that made him refuse extra pay from Mr. Rotamai. He looked at Kunal and said softly, Sir, I can't do that. Kunal's eyes widened. What did you say? I can't steal from the man who trusted me. Kunal hissed. You think honesty will make you rich? You'll die poor, like the rest of them. That evening, Kunal tried to frame Tunde by hiding one of the missing parts in his locker. But destiny had other plans. During inspection the next morning, the security team found Kunal's name written on the supplier receipt, exposing his plan. He was fired instantly. Mr. Rodamai called Tunde into his office later. "I heard what happened. You could have stayed silent or even joined him. Why didn't you?" Tunde lowered his head. "Because you gave me a chance when nobody else did, sir. I can't betray that." The man smiled, the kind of proud smile that carries both relief and respect. "You remind me of myself when I was your age," he said. That moment changed everything. Tunde wasn't just an employee anymore. He became Mr. Rodamai's apprentice. What neither of them knew was that this bond would soon face storms that would test not just loyalty, but blood itself. Years rolled by, and the boy from the streets of Ibadan was no longer a boy. Tunde Williams had become one of the most skilled engineers at Robel Engineering Limited. His uniform was always clean, his reports precise, and his results unmatched. Even the older staff who once mocked him now greeted him with respect. His rise was quiet but steady, the kind that didn't need noise to be seen. By the time he turned 25, Mr. Rodamai had promoted him to head of technical operations. It shocked everyone in the company. "A street boy," some whispered. But Rodamai silenced them with one line. "Hard work doesn't ask where you were born." With his new position came a decent salary. For the first time, Tunde rented a small apartment in Bodija, bought a used motorcycle, and even sent money to the younger boys still struggling near Ojaoba. Life was beginning to smile on him. But fate had a strange plan, one that no success could prepare him for. One evening after closing from work, Mr. Rodamai invited Tunde to dinner. It wasn't their first time. Sometimes they would sit and talk like father and son. Over steaming plates of jollof rice and grilled fish, Rodamai leaned back and said, "Tunde, tell me something. Do you ever think about finding your family?" Tunde smiled faintly. "My mother died when I was small. My father, I don't even know if he's alive. Maybe he forgot I existed." Rodamai looked at him thoughtfully. "What was your father's name?" "Williams," Tunde said. "Alawale Williams." The fork froze in Rodamai's hand. He stared at Tunde, the name echoing in his mind like thunder. "Alawale Williams?" he repeated quietly. "From Iwo Road?" Tunde nodded slowly. "Yes, sir." "How do you know him?" Mr. Rodamai leaned back, his face pale. "Alawale Williams was my elder brother." The world went silent. The noise from the restaurant, the clatter of plates, even the hum of the ceiling fan, all disappeared in that one heartbeat. Tunde blinked. "You brother?" Rodamai nodded, his eyes wet. "We lost contact over 20 years ago after a family dispute. I searched everywhere but never found him. I never knew he had a son." Tunde felt his chest tighten. The man who had given him his first real chance in life was family. Both men sat in stunned silence, emotions flooding the air, shock, disbelief, and a quiet sense of destiny fulfilled. When they finally spoke again, it wasn't as boss and worker, but as blood, uncle, and nephew. That night, Rodamai couldn't sleep. He kept pacing, remembering how his brother's stubbornness had torn the family apart. Now, fate had brought his brother's son right into his arms. But not everyone was happy about this new bond. At work, some jealous staff began whispering again. "He's only rising because he's related to the boss," they said. "Nepotism, that's all." Tunde heard the whispers but ignored them. He had worked too hard to let envy define him. Instead, he focused on his dream to build something of his own one day. Rodamai noticed that fire in him and one morning said, "Tunde, you've grown beyond this company. It's time to start your own. I'll invest in you." Tunde couldn't believe it. "Sir, you mean it?" Rodamai smiled. "You've earned it. I'm proud of you, not just as an employee, but as family." That day, Tunde walked out of the office with tears in his eyes and hope in his heart. He didn't know the storm that was coming. A storm that would test his love, his loyalty, and everything he had built. 5 years later, the skyline of Ibadan had changed, and so had Tunde Williams. The once barefoot street boy was now the CEO of Williams Tech and Construction Limited, one of the fastest-growing engineering firms in Nigeria. His name was on billboards, his face appeared in magazines, and his story had become a symbol of hope for many. But success, as he soon learned, comes with its own kind of loneliness. Rodamai, his uncle and mentor, had fallen ill and retired from public life. Without his steady voice of wisdom, Tunde often found himself surrounded by people who smiled too much and cared too little. Every meeting was about money. Every friendship was about gain. Then came the scandal. One of his close business associates, a man he trusted deeply, had embezzled millions from the company and vanished abroad. Overnight, the media turned on him. Headlines screamed, "Williams Tech under fire, so accused of corruption." Investors pulled out. Contracts were cancelled. Tunde's reputation began to crumble, not because of what he did, but because of what others believed. He drove one night to the same spot near Ojaoba, where it had all begun. He parked his SUV and just sat there, staring at the empty stalls, remembering the barefoot boy he once was, hungry, invisible, and yet free. He whispered to himself, "Maybe I've forgotten who I am." A familiar voice broke his thoughts. Tunde turned. It was Mama Ife, the old food vendor who used to give him scraps as a boy. Her face was older now, her eyes softer. "My son," she said, "you've done well. Don't let the world make you forget your journey." Tunde felt tears sting his eyes. He stepped out, hugged her, and for a moment, all the noise of wealth and business faded away. The next morning, he called a press conference. Cameras flashed as he stood before the crowd, calm and firm. "I've made mistakes," he said, "but not the kind you think. My mistake was trusting the wrong people and forgetting that true success isn't built on money, but on purpose." He took full responsibility for his company's failures, even when he wasn't guilty. His honesty shocked everyone. Within weeks, investigations cleared his name, and the same media that tore him down began praising him again. But Tunde didn't go back to chasing fame. Instead, he started a foundation for homeless children, giving scholarships, building shelters, and mentoring boys who reminded him of himself. At the opening of his foundation, he gave a short speech that moved everyone to tears. He said, "A man is not great because he rises. He is great because he lifts others as he rises." Rodamai, frail but smiling, watched from his wheelchair in the front row. He whispered, "Your father would be proud, Tunde." And as the sun set that evening, painting the city gold, Tunde stood quietly, looking at the children laughing and playing. He had found something far richer than money, peace. From street boy to billionaire, his journey wasn't just a rise to wealth. It was a return to self.